time. We're going to commence from this time. So at this very point, I would like to welcome our honorable presenter and a software engineer by name Mr. 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗃 to take the floor. So Mr. 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗃, the floor is open for you. You are very much welcome and you can have the floor from this moment.
All right, thank you very much. Please, can everyone confirm you can hear me? My network is not bad.
Loud and clear from this side.
Okay, thank you. All right, so first of all, a big thank you for having me. So the last time I was supposed to be here actually to give this talk, but I don't know if you were told, but basically I received a bouncing baby girl. And so
wow.
a lot of activities were going on around me, and I decided to
postpone. Yeah, well done. That is double celebration. Wow. Congratulations, Mr. Presenter.
All right. So yeah, that's the reason why I couldn't give this talk the last time. So you're all welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and then I would talk about KeyCloak. And please, you could just drop your questions in chat while I talk so I could easily reference them. Okay. So of course, I'll also have a Q&A at the end if there's time. Let me see what I can do in 20 minutes and then we'll have a Q&A. All right, thank you so much for your celebrations. Okay, so KeyCloak social logins is what I'm going to be dealing with, and I have something planned out. But of course, if you have any other question, I could give you a tip or something, refer you to somewhere. I am a software engineer at Tribe. I also work with 𝗖𝗵𝗆 based in Abuja, Nigeria. I work remotely, so I'm in Benin City. For most of the persons on the call, I guess some of you have seen me before. I was an instructor at Decagon, and I taught a few persons on the call. So that's why there have been a lot of discussions, like a good teacher and all those kind of things. So I'm like, God help me. But yeah, I try my best to communicate and I understand in the best possible way. So thank God for that. Okay, so yeah, that's brief intro about me. That maybe at the end you can ask any other personal questions. So let's dive in. KeyCloak. What is KeyCloak? All right, so I'm going to introduce KeyCloak and then I'll talk about why you should use KeyCloak, when to use KeyCloak. This is important because generally speaking, you want to know why to use a tool. Okay, there's this argument of, why should I use Java? Why not Python? And things like that. The good answer for this question is you need to understand the internals. You need to understand the pros and the cons. So anytime you are learning a new tech, it's a good thing to always ask, what are the advantages of this? What are the disadvantages of this? So that's the next thing I'm going to do with. Then I'll go into setting up KeyCloak on your system, right? Then we'll do a practical exercise, which is basically the meat of our talk today. Like we want to test on what it looks like to have Google and GitHub sign up on our server, right? That's basically what I want to do as a practical. But yes, it's good for you to understand how KeyCloak works before we dive into that. So that's our table of content. So yes, KeyCloak is an open source identity access management system. It has a number of features which you see as time goes on. And then just straight up, it's one of the reasons why you should use this. It is free. If you want to think about other auth services, you want to think of AWS, Cognito. I think Microsoft has their own. Some of them are paid. There are also other free open source software like KeyCloak, but they are not as common. They are not as, if I should use it, they are not as used as KeyCloak. KeyCloak is old, it is open source, and a lot of persons has been contributing to it. All right, so yes, KeyCloak is actually developed by Red Hat and is used by Red Hat. For those of you who don't know what Red Hat is it's a distribution of Linux. And if you write code at all, you are one way or the other using Linux. Okay, so yes, the Red Hat company developed KeyCloak, and then they also use it. Actually, they use it for most of their services. So this is why I said that it has been battle tested. I read elsewhere that if you see a big company using a tech, that means this definitely has some advantages. Yeah, so it can handle authentication, authorization, user management. And so because this is already built up, one of the reasons why a developer should want to use KeyCloak is to avoid stress. My opinion is if you're a developer, you want to have more reasons for using KeyCloak above just, I want to avoid stress, because like that's your job. Your job is to write code and help the company. So if you are dodging your work, it's not very good. So I would like to say that I will tell you other reasons why you should use KeyCloak, right? At what point should you use KeyCloak? Right. So, but really, it's one of the advantages. You avoid many things. I don't know how many of you here are very familiar with Spring Security. Yeah, I think it's a good question to ask. Like, has anyone or everybody here, if you don't have very good experience with Spring Security, could you raise your hand? Like, you don't have any experience with Spring Security at all. Okay, so yeah, this is fine. So this means everybody has used Spring Security at one point or the other. Okay, so that I asked that because I'm going to spin up a Spring Security app at a point, and so it's going to be important later on. But generally speaking, as Java developers, there are many things that Spring Security does for us, and you may not need to do a lot of work when trying to secure your application, including this Google Auth and and GitHub, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, anyone you want to do. Basically, third-party OAuth. You may not have to do too much if you are using Spring Security. And you know how to use it very well. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I said, it's not okay if your only reason for using KeyCloak is that you want to, skip some work. KeyCloak is designed to help developers add security to their applications with very little effort, and then it supports a range of authentication protocols, OpenID, SAML, OAuth 2. I won't go into details of this because of time, but basically what we are dealing with today is OAuth 2, right? OAuth 2 is a protocol that is designed to allow communication between two different applications. Okay, so KeyCloak has built-in multi-factor authentication, like that stuff where you can request for password before someone logs in on that device. Multi-factor. This means that I want to, even if you have put in the correct password, you want to check again, is this guy who he says he is? So that MFA thing, KeyCloak has it built in. All you have to do is just push a button and it's set up for you. Just very few minimal things. It has password policies. You can automatically say the length of the password should be 8 characters. It should have one uppercase, one special character, all those kind of things. KeyCloak has it already. You just have to push a button. Token management, yes. For most of the apps, I actually recommend using JWT, and KeyCloak uses this out of the box. That's what it does. Then user federation is, I don't think many of us would have done this before, even I myself. We have legacy systems where we have something like LDAP, Active Directory, like you already have a database of users already, and now you want to switch to KeyCloak. So instead of creating those users again, having your database of users from scratch all over again, you can actually connect KeyCloak straight to that already existing database. So that's user federation, admin console for managing realms. Of course, you'll see this very soon. It has an admin console. Then REST APIs for automation and integration. I'm just saying this outrightly as these are the features of KeyCloak. Like, it's not like I'm not going to show you how to do all of this, but it's good these things exist. That when you think what solution can I use, if you already know these features are here, you can probably suggest KeyCloak and check it out. So yes, these are the features of KeyCloak. So when should you use KeyCloak? I wrote down very quietly here, think microservices. This is the best use case for KeyCloak. We have a situation where I don't know how many of you have built microservices. I don't think I need to explain what microservices is, but if you haven't heard it before, basically microservice is I have one app, another application. I think most of you here are backend engineers. So when I say app, you want to think about APIs, okay? So I have this API, another API, and all of them make up one application. Most of the big applications you see are microservices, banking applications, YouTube, they are microservices at the, behind the scenes. So we have multiple backend services communicating with each other. So that is the perfect use case for KeyCloak. Of course, once again, there are other things I will show you, but yes, this is when you have microservices, then you should be thinking of KeyCloak. The reason is that you only need one auth server, and you can easily just put in your KeyCloak URL inside your Spring Security, and everything is done for you. You don't have to set up Spring Security for each of the services. You just keep setting up service 1, service 2. I worked in one application that was like many services, let's say 6 or 7, right? Setting up Spring Security for each of them. I think some of you here must have done that username and password thing on Spring Security. One of the group I belong to, like I see people complaining about it all the time. Like Spring Security is terrible. Like I had to do so much to start it up. So KeyCloak takes all that problem away from you. Yes, takes all that problem away from you. All you just have to do is set it up, and then you need a URL. All right. So I think this is what I'm talking about. If you know you are going to have multiple services, or you already have multiple services, you should think of KeyCloak. If you want SSO, right, and social login compliance, because I want you to know that many applications that you build have regulations, including government regulations. There are protocols you need to follow and all those things. So if you want to, have a managed service, you just know that, okay, KeyCloak is handling this for me. Yes, that is a good reason to use KeyCloak. All right. If you want to avoid managing user credentials, so yes, you could just set up KeyCloak, have its own database, and everything is up and running for you. And of course, I've talked about this before, the wonderful features, MFA, audit logs, and stuff like that. So the idea of a centralized auth is that I have one auth server and multiple services. So it's kind of related to this. If you have one or two of these things, then you should be using KeyCloak. All right. So if you just have a small setup, maybe you want to build one API, or you want to do Google sign up, GitHub sign up, my recommendation is please just set it up straightforward. It may require some reading, but eventually when you do it, it's simpler, right? Because I want you to know that if you are setting up KeyCloak, your company will have to, they have to deploy it. They are literally deploying a server, and it's going to cost some money also. So if you only have one service and then KeyCloak is not really an advantage, you should just build your app straight up and set up your auto login. It shouldn't stress you too much once you read up on it. So yes, that is my recommendation. Okay. I want to pause. Does anybody have any question at this point? Awesome. All right. I presume that there are no questions. So yes, those are the situations. Okay. Yeah, Victor.
All right. Okay. Based on what I understand from what you're saying, KeyCloak is more favorable to microservices than monolith application, right?
Yes. When you think about resource consumption and all those things, yes, that's what I'm saying. Oh. So because it's technically like its own application. Okay, so I have multiple services, and KeyCloak is one of them. Right. So if you are building a single API and you say you want to avoid work, you want to deploy KeyCloak, it may save you stress as a developer, but it won't save the company money. They will have to now deploy 2 apps. They have to deploy KeyCloak and then deploy the app that you are building. All right, so that's one reason, and one major reason why if you are building just a single API, you may not need KeyCloak. Of course, you could run through the features and think about it. Do I need KeyCloak? But yeah, I wouldn't call this a rule of thumb, but it's a good way to think about it. That okay, why do I want KeyCloak? Yeah, right, please.
Hi, thank you very much. Please, my question is, since you just stated that, KeyCloak, you need to deploy, I've not really used, KeyCloak before, so I don't really know how it functions. So let us say I want a system whereby I can log in with the normal username and password. Then I can also do the normal Gmail login, that is your Gmail or GitHub or Facebook, you get. So is there a different alternative than going the KeyCloak? Let us say you don't want to incur the cost of having to host a KeyCloak server? Is there an alternative that can handle this smooth?
I doubt. Like, so basically we're developers, so our job is to solve problems. If you're not using KeyCloak, my recommendation is when they log in, because I've configured Google sign up, I've configured Apple. I think I did GitHub, but not for a production application. So what you can do is that immediately the token is received from Google, you want to check the email. Basically, the idea is about this thing of IDs, a unique identifier. When you use OAuth, there's actually something like a subject ID that can identify a user particularly. So you keep saving that in your database and just check that, okay, have we seen this subject ID? If the subject ID and the email matches together, we can say this guy has come into this application before, and we can flag that the app exists. You then send something to your front end. Basically, that solves the problem. But the idea is that it requires a little bit more work, which is exactly what KeyCloak actually does. If, for instance, I think I should try it. When I will deploy the app, if I have the time, one of the things I will do is I will log in with my GitHub account, and that has my email. And when I try to log into with maybe Google or my email and password, it will flag, it will be like this user. Okay, so what KeyCloak does is they use the email to check, does this person exist before? Which is basically what you can do with your, if you are writing code by yourself. Do you understand?
Yeah, thank you. But I didn't get, that's the flow you mentioned earlier, because you mentioned one very sweet flow there that I didn't fully get, where you are basically checking you say something visit ID and email. I've not really used all the OAuth sign-in before, right? I've not really implemented them before, right? So I just want to get the flow you mentioned there so that I can, think of it.
Okay, so if I'm using Google as an example, okay, it could be any other one, it could be Facebook, it could be whatever. When you use emails, it is expected that for Google, for instance, the email should be unique. My email is different from your email. Even if I have multiple email accounts, we can say that, well, my second email, you will not be able to find out that is me. I'm a different person if I use different emails. That's a good assumption if you are building your application. So if someone tries to log in with Google, for instance, and you save the person's email, okay? Now, let's say this same person comes, he then tries to use email and password, or even username and password before, but you collected his email at some other point. By the time he's trying to use this second authentication mechanism, you will then check that this user already exists, and then they will know how to handle it from there. And I don't know if have you ever used an app where they say something like this account already exists. Do you want to link both accounts? That's how they check it basically. We check with a unique identifier, and I'm saying that email is a good one. It's a good identifier to use. Do you understand now?
Okay, thank you very much. That means that Google will always send you that identifier and email, right, for you to have access to check the things.
You are right. You are correct. We could even go as far as carrying out activities on behalf of the user. Let's say Calendly, for instance. There will be like, do you want to add this to your calendar? They will ask you for some permissions when installing Calendly or when you sign up on Calendly. And if you say yes, what Google will do is that they will give them a token that they can always use to carry out certain activities on your behalf. So, but for login and sign up, like, it's very simple. All you just need is the email, maybe profile picture and all that. So you have to set that up also. It's part of what you do as you're setting up your app on Google Console. Okay, so yeah, let me quickly move on. I believe that answers the question very well. So quickly, some very quick concepts on KeyCloak. So in KeyCloak, we have what we call a realm. I want you to think of a realm as an isolated part of KeyCloak. Let's say, for instance, I want to have two different applications, and I want a situation where this application is not able to communicate with this other application until I say so. So that's basically what a realm is. Think of it like a big kingdom. Okay, so I can have two different kingdoms and be like this kingdom, Nigeria. You have to take permission before you discuss with Kingdom Ghana. So that's what a realm is. By default, once you deploy your KeyCloak, you are going to have a realm called the master realm. Okay, then we have the clients. Clients are basically things that communicate with KeyCloak. It could be your front end, it could be your back end, but basically from a KeyCloak perspective, those other applications that communicate with KeyCloak are clients. I know that as backend guys, you know that your front end is your client, right? So if you are discussing talking about KeyCloak as its own server, right, other applications that interact with it, including your backend, can also be a client. Okay. All right. So we have roles. I think there are two kinds of roles. We have realm roles that you could set up. But the idea behind it is that realm roles are global, while we then have client roles, which are only specific for a client. But you have a question again. Is your hand still up, or is from the last one? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so next up is identity provider. Yes, so identity provider is all these things we talked about: GitHub, Twitter, Google, Facebook, Instagram, Thread, all those other applications that already have OAuth 2 set up that you can easily integrate. From my check so far, Apple doesn't allow this, of course. So Apple, they're always hiding. So I don't think you can deal with Apple through KeyCloak. You have to set it up manually if you want to sign in through Apple login. Okay, so those are identity providers, and they have different protocols. But yeah, I think we're dealing with OAuth 2 today, which is what most of these guys use. We have SAML, OpenID Connect. Also, users are basically users of your application. Okay, so when you sign into KeyCloak, you are created as a user on KeyCloak. Then we have UI teams. Well, the point here is that generally, even what I'm going to be doing today, when you click the button, it will redirect you to KeyCloak to log in, and this is the recommended flow. Okay, but you can adjust that UI, right? So that's what this UI teams is about. I've not really explored it too much before, but yes, I know it is very possible. So you can change the color from what it is. You can even adjust it. Okay. I think there are hacks around it. Maybe you just want to maintain your own sign up and sign in page, which I don't recommend for security reasons. But yes, I think the best way to do it is to just come here and update the KeyCloak theme to look like what you want it to be. So there's also the concept of groups. There's also the concept of events, and user federation is what I talked about, where you already have an existing database and you just want to connect KeyCloak directly to it. So yeah, that is user federation. Okay, so we are running. I think it's time for me to do local setup. Yes, maybe I should take you to this test I was doing before. Let me just check out KeyCloak. I want to check KeyCloak documentation so that you guys will see that there are multiple ways to do KeyCloak. For one, I think there was someone who taught us the last time. I think David taught us about Docker instances and things like that. Since I learned Docker a few years ago, I hardly download any app. Before you download 𝗖cie_𝗶𝗆, download Kafka, download KeyCloak, your laptop will just be full. So yeah, I basically don't do those installations. MongoDB, Postgres, I don't install them. I always use Docker. So that's what we're going to use here. I just use the image, spin it up for as if I already have the thing. And anyways, one of the reasons why it's good to use Docker is that you are not really, putting so much work on your system. The ROM is not being filled with apps that you only open up once in a while, right? So that's one of the reasons why I recommend that. Another thing is the version. I think some of you can still see my screen, right? 26.4.1. It is very important to note the version of KeyCloak that you are using, okay? Because things change as they keep upgrading and upgrading. For this tutorial, I'm going to use 26.3.3. okay, and what I'm going to be doing is actually very simple, but it gets more complex. You can actually interact with KeyCloak within your application, like within your application with Java code. You can, KeyCloak can be communicating with your system actually through the REST APIs. Okay, so it has REST APIs, and I think there's a Java SDK for it, and that's one of the reasons why I said you should take note of the version. This is it. This is the dependency. But again, we won't get into all that today. I just want to do the GitHub Google sign in, and we should be out of here. All right. So this is the documentation. If there's anything that looks unclear, I want to encourage everyone that there's nothing bad when you look at documentation. Sometimes when I'm not clear on some things, I just go to YouTube. Just keep watching any video, even if the problem has not been solved. It's a good way of whiling away your time. Stand up, sleep, come back, be like, hey, this problem is safe. So yeah, we all run into challenges, and then it's good to learn how to solve them. So this is the documentation, and as you keep looking at it, you want to go to the documentation that is directly for the KeyCloak version that you are running. Okay, so yes, all that said, let me show you my local setup. I've written a lot of code so that I won't be typing code in your presence, right? So first things first is I will open up IntelliJ. Yes, I have this app called KeyCloak Social, right? I think all of us here already know how to start up applications, so I wouldn't bore you with all that information. But yeah, basically, anyone who's new to programming here, I'm actually using IntelliJ Ultimate. So straight up from Spring Boot, I put in the name of my application, and then I'm not going to create this app. I'm just showing it for those. Yeah. So you want to add the dependencies that you need for this app. I really didn't use anything. I think I just added Spring Web and then Spring Security. That's all I did. Okay, and then Docker Compose because I need Docker. All right, so that's all I did for that application. So this is the app, 𝗖cie Social. I am opening it up. So I have this Docker Compose file. I will try to run through everything that it means. Right. So when you go through the documentation for KeyCloak, they will have this long line that you should do docker-it, then tell you the image you are deploying. Once again, this is one of the hacks I use. I always have a Docker Compose file in most of the apps I work with. Even if it's only database I want, I will still use Docker Compose. I don't want to, run Postgres or MySQL locally. I will still use Docker Compose. So this is something that Spring Boot supports by default. Let me show you once you have this, I think it comes with the Spring Boot starter anyways, but yes, in case it doesn't come, you can actually just go there, you can Docker Compose support. This is it. So once you have this dependency, you can actually use Docker Compose without any stress anymore. You just have to start up Docker, put in the YAML, and off it goes. All right. So for this, I have this YAML. I'll come back to explain it. So let me start up Docker here. So I'm opening up Docker, and it's opening right now. So so you can see it. You have to have Docker running before it works. So yes, my Docker is up now. So the main thing I need to do is, remember what I said, KeyCloak is actually an application on its own, right? So all the configurations and everything that you are doing is supposed to be saved in the database, including the user information, right? So if you decide to just run KeyCloak, what it does, I think this thing was built with Java. I'm very sure Java is part of what KeyCloak was built with. So if you just run it like that, it will use a H2 database. I said that because I believe some of you are familiar with H2 database when you were learning Java. H2 database is something almost like in-memory database. So if I don't put this Postgres image here, what it will do is that it will just start up KeyCloak for me. But once I drop it, everything drops. Okay. So I added the database here and I connected it with KeyCloak. So let me try to run through it. I believe that some of us here are looking at Docker Compose for the first time. So let's see how fast I could go. So this is telling us that these are the services I want to create, I want to pull. Okay, so I want to pull a Postgres instance. This is the image on Docker Hub. So I'm pulling off Postgres version 15. I want it to be named KeyCloak Postgres. The internal port is 5432, but on my laptop, I also want it to run on 5432. Okay, then I want some environment variables. Let's call the database KeyCloak DB. Let's call the user KeyCloak. Let's put KeyCloak as the password. So this volumes is basically what saves the information on my system. So yes, this pulls out a space on my system and saves the data inside here. The same thing I just described for Postgres is something very similar to for KeyCloak. So remember again, I am using 26.3.3. If you go to the official documentation, there are going to be minor variations from 21, 22, 26.1, 26.2. There are minor variations with probably some of these environment variables. So you want to be sure. But for this particular thing that we are doing, for this 𝗏𝗏2 implementation we are working on right now, the most important of them is, let me not say the most important, basically it is that it won't work if you don't have this 𝗖cie features set up. This 𝗖cie features is what allows token exchange between Google or whatever third-party provider you want to use, and then your KeyCloak server is what allows it. So this is the setup. I don't know, maybe I'll push this up so that you could take a look at this code. And I believe this is being recorded. One of the things I try to do if I want to, memorize or try to understand everybody is to type. So if you watch the video of this thing again, you can attempt typing this thing in your Docker Compose, or you can generate it with GPT actually, yes, and then try to ask, oh, what does network mean? What does image mean? You know, that's one good way to memorize. Okay, so my Docker Docker app is running. I want to click on services. Once I click here, actually the normal way to do it is to do Docker run and the name of what I want to run, but this is IntelliJ. So thank God for IntelliJ. I'll just click this. If you don't have the image before, it will go to Docker Hub. You need to have your internet connection running. It will pull the Postgres image, it will pull the KeyCloak image and then start it. The reason why it started quickly for me right now is because I already have these images right on my system. Okay, so this is running on localhost 8088. So I will try to access it right now. Okay, so let me go back to my browser. Okay, so localhost. Yes, it's true. I actually created a front-end app for this. Let me see if I can demo all of them. Okay, yeah, this is the front-end app. Let me close this for now. Right, so yeah, I have KeyCloak running. So let me just be sure. Refuse to connect / realms. Okay, I think it's already showing me. So I'm going to create a realm from the scratch all over again because I already have one realm that is here. So I want to create a realm from scratch in your presence so that you all will see. I'm not sure why it's not starting. Let me just run the app. Maybe that should fix it. Localhost 8088. Okay. All right, I think it's running now. Okay, I have a bit of a problem. The KeyCloak DB doesn't exist. I think I changed this before. So let me revert back. Can everybody still see my screen? You can see my screen, right?
Yeah,
we can.
I need somebody to confirm. Yes. All right. So this is an error from my database. I wanted to make sure like we can still look at what I'm doing. So the reason why it's not connecting is because KeyCloak didn't start. So generally you want to always check your logs anytime you have issues. But for this particular one, the reason why it's not functioning is because the DB wasn't started, and I've already connected both together. Like there should be a KeyCloak DB. So instead, I think I should use KeyCloak, right, and then restart. And of course, we're also going to check. We're going to check it here. If you're using IntelliJ Ultimate, one way to just know if your app is running or not is you can see this KeyCloak here is dull. So that means it's not running. There's a problem. You come here, look at it. Then if you don't have IntelliJ Ultimate, of course, you can do the normal way of using Docker commands, which is not bad. I actually recommend it because you may be running on an IDE that is not IntelliJ. So IntelliJ just has a way of making things easier. That's just the point. All right, so let me check once again to see. Okay, I think it's running now. I am using KeyCloak. All right, KeyCloak. Anyways, so that should be it. Let me try to rerun. It's still starting. So if you were to do this on your own, it's going to take a little bit of time. The reason why it's kind of fast is because I've run this before. That's just it. It's as if you're installing an app. You're actually installing the KeyCloak image on your system. So it's still coming up here. Once it comes up, it should be able to work as expected. So while it's starting, I want to ask, does anybody have any particular question about this Docker Compose setup? Okay, I don't know. I'm going to assume that means no questions, right? Okay, yeah, so right, you can go on.
Okay, the question I have is concerning the DB. Yeah, because at first,
Yes.
it didn't start because of the DB doesn't exist, right? Then till you now reverted to the one that you already have. So is
Yes.
it possible to start up the DB, then before you start up the KeyCloak, like let the KeyCloak depend on the DB actually starting up first? Is this possible to have that set up? I don't know if you heard me.
Yes. I actually think that was. Yeah, I heard you. Like your question is it possible to start the Postgres instance before starting the KeyCloak
Exactly.
instance? Yes, but I kind of configured this to already do that. So this depends on variable in Docker
Exactly.
image.
Yeah.
Actually, in Docker, this thing actually means that this thing depends on Postgres. Please don't come on until Postgres is on. So I don't think that was what caused the error, right? It couldn't find KeyCloak DB. So this depends on variable. It's good for you when you are writing Docker files. Depends on actually means that this particular service depends on this other one. So my KeyCloak service depends on Postgres service, like service in the context of Docker language. So that's how it's supposed to be. It's actually like that.
All right.
Okay,
All right. Thanks.
so I'm going to sign in. Yeah. Sign in. So this is the admin UI that I talked about that it has, and it's very straightforward to use, except that it's actually a lot. I remember the first time I opened KeyCloak, I was like, what is all this? Okay, so I'm not going to do everything in KeyCloak today. Like I said, it's something very simple. It's telling me I'm a temporary admin user, blah, 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 but I really don't care. I'm actually a temporary user. Ideally, what you should do is to come to users. You want to create a new user. Okay, I think I created this user before. You want to create a user and then ensure that the password is set, and then it will disappear. But I'm using Docker image, and should make sure you deploy it properly. Okay, so for Google IDP or whatever, the first thing to do, if you want to create your app, if you want to configure KeyCloak, is that you should create a realm. I think I already have a realm. That's why this thing is showing like this. Okay, I already have, this was the test account I was using. I want to create a new one from scratch. All right, so that you see how it works. It is also not advised to use your master realm for security reasons. Let it be that the only users in master realm are persons who are managing KeyCloak itself. Okay, so like you want to log into KeyCloak, like you saw me, I just logged in with admin, right? Those are the only users that should be on the master realm. Okay, if you want to create a realm for another app, if you want to use it with another application, you want to build a particular realm for maybe you are building a microservice app, you want to build a realm for it, right? So that's how this should work. So to create a realm, I'll just come here. Let me call it NAIJA-JUG. It's 9:16 already. Let me try to create something like so that you could have a feel of it, like what your front end dev would be doing. So I want to create a client that will be used by the front end. I will create that client, and then we will go on ahead and try to play with this. Okay. So firstly, in this app, I want you to see that there are no users. There are no users. Let me try to create a user. Let me create a user here. Let me call the user. By the way, my name is Victor also, right? So let's do Victor at test.com. So again, this thing that I'm doing right now, you can actually configure KeyCloak to be like verify the email, don't agree. So if you switch that button, this kind of email will not work because it will check that this email is fake. If I just check this thing now, I may have a problem. So I want to keep it off so that our class will be simpler. Okay. Right. So let's do this. Let's do draw. Right. I'm not creating a group, just again so that we can be quick and straight to the point. I'm creating this user, and then I want to give him a credential. Let's give him a password. I'm going to use something simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, so you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it temporary?
Good evening, everyone. Since his network is out, so just bear with him for a while till we join. Thank you.
All right. Please let's bear with him. I think the network is very bad. Even me, I'm just just coming in because I lost my network not quite ago. I was not able to even connect. So I think there is a challenge in network this evening. So let's bear with him. Thank you, and thanks for your understanding.
All right, I'm very sorry. I think I dropped off. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, very well. Your voice is coming out clear.
Oh God, Nigerian problem. I can hear you. All right, so let's go. So I was saying that I have one small UI for this thing running on 5173. Yes, so this is it. Oh, I've already built it. Nope. I want to change some things. So this is a UI I created for it, right? Because we are not, or I'm expecting that most of you are not front-end developers, I won't talk too much about this. But yes, I would show you some endpoints in my backend application, and then I would also show you how I configured this. In case you are part of the front-end team or whatever, you need to install KeyCloak Web in your front-end application, and then set this realm to be, whatever realm that you want it to use, right? And then what else? Create a client, like I mentioned, right? So I haven't created a client yet. I'll create one very soon. So this is the front-end UI I created for this, so that we don't need to be doing, log in, log out, and be using endpoints like we normally do. It's always nice to have something you can view. So yeah, this is the UI. Once I click login with KeyCloak, it will direct me to wherever I need to be in, right? Also, let me show you my backend application that I am using. So I have this 𝗖cie social application. After I've run my Docker is now up. I think all of you have seen that. The next thing to do is creating some controllers. So this controller, I have public hello, I have user profile, I have admin dashboard. So this hello is open. I will show you how to do that in 𝗖cie_security. I think everybody says that they can do that. So that's very straightforward. While this one requires it's protected, right? So in the security config, I have to do basically almost nothing. Let me show you the security config. It's very straightforward. So this line says anything that starts with public permits it. Any other request, it needs to be authenticated. That's what it says. And then it says like all two resource servers should use this particular JWT decoder. Meanwhile, the JWT decoder is directly connected with my application, my KeyCloak application. So this line is actually very, very important. Okay, so based on the new realm I just created, I'm going to switch this to NAIJA-JUG, right? So that's the name of our realm. Every other thing stays the same. In fact, I think one thing I should do is to show you, let me show you one hack you could use to always get these kinds of things. If you look at your realm right here, you go to realm settings, right? And then in realm settings, you see open endpoint configuration. You just click on this place, and can you see this? This color is something I installed on my browser. It's not supposed to be like this, but the idea is that it shows you key value pairs for almost all the, look at it, well-known OpenID configuration. So all these endpoints are available to you. These are the things you will normally need to configure either your front end or your back end to communicate with KeyCloak. Our time is fast spent. What do I do? Okay, do you know what? I would do GitHub, right? I think I would just do GitHub and let's see. So back to our backend. I came here just to show you guys these things, right? That you can always get your endpoints that you require in this particular part. So for the, where's my backend? So yes, this is the backend configuration here. We have set here to be NAIJA-JUG, okay? And then you then go to your application.yaml. This is, you can use properties also. Of course, I think all of us know the difference between YAML and properties. So for YAML, it's very organized. The same thing with our Docker Compose file. It moves in steps. It may look awkward to you at first if you begin with properties, but eventually you like it. You kind of write less, if you notice. You write less, right? And the lines are not very, very long. So if I wanted to do this in properties, I would have written everything in one line. You can imagine that. So YAML is gradually becoming the default for many guys, but this is the only thing you need. So this issuer URI is to be gotten from that place I showed you. Because I've configured it before, I'm just changing one minor detail, which is the realm name. Remember, our realm was NAIJA-JUG. So that's basically all. Okay, but ideally you want to copy it from that place I showed you, paste it here, right? This is just Spring's way of saying, give me the issuer URI and then add these other things at the end. So that's what the JWK set URI is. All right. So with this, I've set up my backend application. All right. And so what it will do, Spring Security is going to be checking this particular place. It's like, where is this JWT coming from? Is it coming from KeyCloak? Is it coming from this particular realm? You get, that's what it's going to be checking. So that's basically what this thing means. That is what this setup means. Very easy and straightforward. Okay, so this is all you need to do for your backend to make it work. Okay, now let's go to, for the front end. Like I said, I won't talk too much. This is the endpoint for my KeyCloak. It's hosted on 𝗖cie8, and then the realm name, the client ID. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. Yes, basically the same thing, app.jsx. So this is what you are seeing in that place. And then I have profile. Is that the question? Please ask. Okay. I thought it was a question. Anyways, so Leah, let's go back to our KeyCloak server. I want to create a client. All right, I'm creating a client for the front end. Let me call it React client. You can call it anything actually. This is just a way to make sure. React client. Let me call it React client. I don't need to describe it. Okay, I think I want to display it always in the UI. Next, I'm going to leave the client authentication off. So the idea is that you can actually make the client calling KeyCloak to authenticate, but I don't want that. So let's just leave it like that. Authorization should also be off. I'm going to use 𝗲𝗄𝗆 for the 𝗖cie method. So 𝗖cie method is the protocol you want to. I don't want to bore you with many explanations, but basically it is saying that when it gets to KeyCloak, that there should be a protocol. It should not be plain, right? So it could be plain communication between both the front end and KeyCloak, or you could actually hash it so that it cannot be, if someone could not come between that communication and see what is going on. So yes, I want it to be hashed here, right? So I'm going to put next my root URL. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's use this guy as the root URL. So this is our front end. This is our front end. This is our front end. So anything that has that guy should work. And then web origins. Let's use anything. Asterisk means anything. I think all of us know that. So yes. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to check if there's anything I'm missing. I don't think there is. We are good. All right. So with this, I hope that my front end app will work properly. All right. So then I want to do login. Can you see this? So 𝗖cie is also having our app name. So this is our realm name. It just capitalizes it. Remember, I said you could configure this if you're interested. So you can use that KeyCloak team stuff to configure this. So let's log in that our guy. I don't know. Can we still remember the guy's email? victor@test.com. And our password was 1234. Let me see if I'm right. 1234. Then we sign in. Great. So are you seeing this? This works. So this is basically React, and but in the back end, I think the back end is what you guys should be interested in. So in the back end, what it's doing is, let me go back to the controller. This is the endpoint I'm actually calling. Public hello. This is a public endpoint. Okay, this is the one that doesn't require authentication. This one is what we are calling right now. It basically just authenticates. It gets your email, gets your name, and it returns it. Can you see it? So that's what it does. So the React app is taking it and then logging it for you to see. Okay. So now what I want to do, because of our time, is to, let me go back to my slide. What I want to do is to create a GitHub app. Google and GitHub, there really isn't much difference. There isn't much difference, right? So this is just something I created for you to visualize what is going on. This is the KeyCloak app. This can be your KeyCloak adapter and your front end, and this could be anything, your mobile app, front end app, API, whatever it is, right? But for us, this is what it is now. Our front end app is a React application. Okay. So we have already set up the server. We don't need this. We are doing the practical demo now. So I actually wrote this down to guide, serve as a guide when trying to configure Google and GitHub, but it's too, like we are kind of behind time. So let me run along and try to do for GitHub, okay? For GitHub. So you go to, let me close this. You go to your GitHub account. The reason why I'm using multiple browsers is because I don't want any situation where it's routing me to something I don't need, because it has cached the information. So yes, that's why I'm doing that. So I want to create a GitHub application from scratch, right? Please confirm you can still see my screen.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Awesome. So please pay attention. I'm only doing for GitHub because of time, okay? I don't know why this network thing is slow. So we go to settings. This thing is very slow. I'm very sorry about that. Settings, I think we have developer settings. So if you were doing this on Google, what you would be doing is to create a project. On GitHub, we call it an app. Okay, I want to create a GitHub app. Do I have a logo for this? I don't know. What can I do? So this guy is asking me for. So I think this is also part of the things we're trying to deal with. Okay, we are doing this to ensure security, and GitHub is also ensuring security. If somebody creates an app on your behalf, it's really not going to be nice. Okay, so there are multiple things you could do. You could receive a code via email. You could use your GitHub app, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I don't know. Let me just go somewhere and get this code that they're asking me for. Sorry, this wasn't part of my plan. It's taking extra time. yeah, I think I have it. 09756. Great. So let's call the app NAIJA Java Devs. This is displayed. So homepage URL would be from KeyCloak. Let me take this as our homepage URL. And actually, this is it. It has to be the realm/account. Okay, so I'm going to put that in as my homepage URL. So this is one of the steps you have to do. The next thing you have to do is to put the callback URL. So the callback URL is actually coming from KeyCloak. You have to redirect it back to KeyCloak. Okay, so these are the identity providers we can use. I am configuring for GitHub right now. Can you see what it affords? Bitbucket, Google, LinkedIn. This is actually a lot. So I'm doing for just this one to save our time. So this is the callback URL you are going to use. It's the redirect URL. So I'm going to once again put it in here. I don't need event details. Okay. I don't know. I think this is fine. Yeah, I also want to make sure any accounts can actually get this app. So you could read through it and configure it properly. But yeah, it's not something that's so difficult for you to go through. This is all the basic information that we need. I have allowed any app to be able to download whatever I'm creating. So you created the GitHub application. On Google is very similar step. You'll be doing a project. On Facebook, the same thing. Whatever app you are doing, just very minor changes. So this client ID, I believe you can see. I'm going to put it somewhere in my KeyCloak. This is the client ID. Can you see this? Client ID fixed. And then I need a client secret. I'm going to ask for a client secret, generate a new client secret. I don't know what's happening to network today, but it's generating anyway. Yep, so I have a new secret, I copy, and then I'm going to paste it here. Of course, if you want to see it, you can see it, but it's not necessary. I will add it, right? So basically, now if I click on identity provider again, you will see that it's still saying I've already configured GitHub. I can add a provider and just add Google. That was my plan, but I don't know if I can do it. So let's see now. I want to log this guy out. I hope I've set up everything correctly. Okay, so now I want to log in with KeyCloak again. Are you seeing GitHub has come up? I think there was something I did. If I add GitHub now, so Google, you will see Google will come up under or below based on how I set it, but it's basically the same thing. For GitHub now, I'm going to click GitHub. It will then redirect to try to authenticate. I think I'm already logged in on GitHub here, so let's see what happens. Okay. User email states. Let me go back. Okay. I think this is a misconfiguration from. Let me check the URL is redirecting to. This should be from my front end. It's redirecting me to the wrong app. So let me check the front end code, which basically doesn't concern most of you anyways, but it's the same thing. If it doesn't redirect properly, you want to check your configurations where it is, how it is configured. So let me inspect my configuration here. Profile. Yes, I think I have KeyCloak.js. I have a React client. Okay. All right. Let me try to do an inspection. Client ID. I think my client ID is missing something. So let me go back and try to configure it again. Maybe there's a space somewhere that needs not to be. Yes. Can you imagine? Jesus Christ. So that minor thing can cause problems. I hope that's the problem anyways. Let me save it. Oh God. All right. Wow. So yeah, such a space problem can give you big issues. So let's go. It's authorizing. Great. So this email is actually coming from GitHub. It's not from me. So even if I authenticated with GitHub, I missed something, but let me still show you guys anyways. I didn't tell you people that these users are being auto-created. So let me go here. Are you seeing that this user just got in? Like I didn't create it manually the way I did this one. This Victor Ojo just came here only because I logged in with GitHub. So this is a very quick way to create, to just skip all those steps of asking the guy, who was your email, who was your password, who was this. I'm going to retrieve everything from, of course, you won't ask for password. I'm going to retrieve everything from GitHub or Google or Facebook or whoever it is that needs those particular information. All right. So this is basically most of what I want to say. I was in a hurry because I wanted us to make sure we did everything we needed to do. But let's see. Do I have 5 minutes to take questions? Does anybody have a question? All right. I have just 2. Please, we need to be fast. So I'm taking all the questions at once, right? So yeah, right, please go on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm asking too many questions. Yeah. So now, since the users are actually stored on KeyCloak database sort of, right? Now, how does it route to your own main application DB? Like, how does your own main application DB keep track of these users to use them for further, like maybe further processing, further things? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, understood. And yes, that's why we're here, to ask questions. So your question is very much welcome. Samuel, let's go. Your question.
Okay, my question, I would have said I missed some parts and probably you've spoken about it. So what you just saw here is something, I mean, you can actually achieve using words, like the normal traditional words. So like, what does like the KeyCloak itself brings to the table? Because like for my end now, I'm just seeing plenty over engineering. I have to set this up, set that up. And meanwhile, with general words, just adding few lines, I think I'm good. So what's the, probably you've stated it from the beginning, but I think I missed that part. Apologies.
You are right. Yes, so I had stated it from the beginning. We don't use KeyCloak if we are building a very simple app, and this is a simple application. I don't know which app to show you people now. I cannot show you guys company project. Let me see if I have one simple thing in this place to show you. Unfortunately, I'm looking for a microservice app to show you, and I don't think I have anyone that is there. I used to have one Spring security stuff. I don't, but basically, the reason why you want to use it is because I only have, let me show you this minimal security config I did here. Now, all of you who have built a microservice app before, you know that, if you were going to take each of them on their own, you were going to have to build Spring security for all of them. Now, I can just carry this, my small config like this, and paste it in each of the applications. Let's say I have 7 different microservices. Paste each of them, making sure that this URL is correct. And that is all I need to set up Spring security on all 7 of the applications. So that is when it saves you work. If you are doing all these plenty things because of one small application, it would probably be easier to just use Spring security to just get the URL from Google and paste it here. So yes, you are right. We have said it before. It's actually microservices that makes KeyCloak to shine. Yeah, that's when you should use it, not for one small app. And that leads me to the next question, which is how do I get whatever? So like I said, you're not getting the password of the user. You're only getting stuff like email. So from this place, of course, I didn't add database to this application. I could do something like user.save whatever, and then of course I will create my user. I will do user.email equals user.builder. Get the email, get the name. Actually, if I used Google, I could actually get profile picture from Google. They normally give that. Like I said, I don't. Anyways, let me die. It's going to take our time, but I have an application where I didn't use Spring. I didn't use KeyCloak. I just used normal Google, and I got all that information. So it can actually give it to you. When you get it, what you do is that you just create something like you say user equals new user using the information that you have gotten. Are you getting it? So when you use that information, you cannot do user.save, user repository.save, and that's all you need. Bryce, does this make sense?
Yeah, thank you. That is clear. That's clear enough. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so that's basically it. So in that sense, I want you to note how expensive it is again. You can see that KeyCloak has its own database and your own app has its own database. So if you're not really using a microservice, you can see that it's kind of like a waste. You are just creating applications, creating databases. So really, once again, if you want to use KeyCloak, think microservices. If you are very sure that your app will never become a microservice application, you may want to just stick with what you are doing and not use KeyCloak. All right. So this is all. I really hope this class was interactive enough and none of you will be afraid to use KeyCloak.
Very well.
Right,
thank you, Mr. Presenter. Your topic is very clear, and I can say it's awesome. Seeing getting to know the importance of KeyCloak, knowing when to use KeyCloak, and knowing when to use the Spring security and all of that. I think you really did justice to this topic. I think we still have time, and then we will allow questions from the floor. Anyone has a question for our honorable presenter? I think he will be ready for that.
Yeah, Christopher has a question.
Yes. I really enjoy this tutorial. So, but I think during the last session you mentioned that for the user storage, the KeyCloak has its own database, right? But from what I know, I've watched a course sometime like that. So I think we can provide a custom data source for that KeyCloak instead of the default one, because somebody was asking one question how can we use the user that are being stored in the KeyCloak database in case you want to use it for further processing. So one can actually do a custom data source, we provide your own data source for the KeyCloak to use it. I'm not sure that makes sense.
Okay. So what I think is that you should leave KeyCloak database to do what KeyCloak does, because it's not only the user's info that's going to be saved there, the configuration data itself. As you keep creating new realms, you keep creating new clients, it's actually being saved in the DB. All right. So my suggestion is you want to leave KeyCloak database to do what KeyCloak database does and create your own database for your application. Right. That's what I think. I don't know. I don't think anybody wants to go to production with a in-memory database for KeyCloak, right? You want to create a custom, whatever you call it. You want to have, when you deploy KeyCloak, your DevOps guys, your infrastructure team should actually deploy KeyCloak with its own database. You shouldn't be using the in-memory in-memory database. I hope that's clear. So let KeyCloak have its database, let your app have its database. The only thing is that you wouldn't, in your own application now, you wouldn't be saving things like password, you wouldn't have anything to do with authentication. KeyCloak is doing all that authentication problem for you. It's carrying all that headache, all the multi-factor authentication logic, everything is already done on KeyCloak. So that's what it's saving you. Okay, it doesn't mean your application will no longer have a database. It should still have a database. I hope that's clear.
All right. I guess his question has been answered. Okay, I guess his question has been answered. I guess it's clear. Anyone else has a question for Mr. 𝗖cie𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃? Anyone else, your question? It can be a contribution anyway, even if it's not a question. It can be a contribution, a suggestion, or whatever.
Can it be a shout out as well?
Yeah, sure. It's all together.
All right, shout out to my teacher, my mentor, my essay. Well done, sir. It was an amazing section. It was really good to hear from you again. Well done, well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now that I'm in the community, don't worry. The way you people are helping me is as if I should go back to teaching. Maybe I'll open a YouTube channel and like make videos based on requests. Like any topic you need to learn more, I could make a video on it. I think that will work. So yeah, I'm
all right. Definitely. We already have a YouTube channel too. You can also align with us and make everything you get. So,
all right. Thank you very much. Great to see you.
Yeah. So anyone else has something to keep in, have something to say as regards to the topic? Anyone else? All right. If there are no further questions, we might not further waste more of our time. I think our presenter have done justice to the topic, and honestly, for me, it's really awesome. I must say, very big thank you for doing justice to KeyCloak. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate. NAIJA-JUG loves you. If there is anyone here who is not yet in our following of any of our social media, probably you are not on the WhatsApp platform, just check in the message section. You have all our social medias there. The X, the WhatsApp, the LinkedIn is there. We have a YouTube as well, but then you can get connected over there. So at this junction, I would like to call it a day. But before then, let me say another congratulations to our honorable presenter for the bouncing baby that came into the family. So congratulations once more, and
woo! Congratulations.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's a very young dad. It's really good to get it at this stage. A young dad, let's celebrate him. Congratulations. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, at this point, we might have to call it a day and a very wonderful day. So you all do have a wonderful and a joyful evening. Thank you, Mr. Presenter, and goodbye from now. See you guys in the next section.